probably some of the highest end hardware along with Bobcat. We're going to keep going. Mach 4. I have a lot of questions about Mach 4. Mach 4, basically, again, we're going from Mach 3 to Mach 4. I've said it numerous times. I get questions on it all the time. You know, do I sell Mach 4? Do I recommend Mach 4? Mach 4 is good software. I'm not going to say it's great. It's just been released. Matter of fact, it's on its Rev 2 version already. Again, software company looking to make money. This is not like buying an iPhone or buying modern technology in the sense that you need to always have the latest version in order to get the best performance. In this particular instance, I have to say that staying with Mach 3, which has been around longer, has longer maturity, is going to give you guys more stability in the sense that if you have to actually review support for yourself, there's readily a huge amount of following in the community available for that. And Mach 4 just doesn't have that yet. It's not going to have that for quite some time, and you have to justify spending more money on it. That being said, there are many of you that will. You know, they think, a lot of guys think having an iPhone 10 versus the iPhone 8 is a big difference. So they'll go out and drop that coin. Enjoy it. It's what you prefer. That being said, you can see here preferred 32 or 64-bit laptop or desktop using an external motion controller. And then over here it says 32-bit desktop, parallel port recommendations. I don't know why the hell we'd be going backwards if you were going to drop the coin on Mach 4, but everybody is different. And again, we're looking here at a 2 gig CPU, 2 gig CPU, excuse me, 1 gig of RAM. Just ridiculous. I mean, when they're saying 1 gig of memory, if you guys just do research alone on these operating systems other than like XP, even going to Vista, if you look at the minimum operating system requirements on hardware, that doesn't even make logistical sense, okay, on 1 gig of RAM, because you're basically going completely backwards. As soon as that system is turned on, if you're running Windows 8 or Windows 7 with that kind of memory, you're going to see a turd like you've never seen before. So stay, once again, rule of thumb is always rule of threes. In this particular instance, I recommend, again, for a CAD CAM system, we'll stay with the basics. 12 gigs of RAM, 12 gigs, excuse me, of memory, and that's RAM, rapid access memory, and typically it's going to be DDR3. DDR4 is going to be the more modern. Stay with the computer at least within 3 years old. Okay, phones right now are the hot thing. I mean, manufacturers are dishing them out as fast as they can make them. China can't keep up with production with them. I mean, I can tell you right now, in an electronic standpoint, they are moving quickly. Laptops, computers typically are about a 3-year time span. Not that you can't go older, but to get the hardware bundled with the system out of the box, typically 3 years is your sweet spot. If you're upgrading your computer yourself and you're fine with that, you can go much older than that and upgrade it. I would not go past 5 years. I would not, once again, go past 5 years. Everybody is different. If you look at computer prices now with what they are, whether it be refurbished or whichever you buy, used, refurbished, whatever it may be, there's really no reason to go past 5 years. They're more than reasonable. Okay? And once again, you can see here, video card with 256 meg of RAM, large G-code files, once again, especially 3D files, require video card with 512 meg of RAM or higher. Well, we already know, just by looking at Mach 3, this is a given. So, and this is interesting. This is really interesting, because if we look here, it's contradicting itself. And let's talk about that. Once again, they're recommending a non-integrated video card. Well, let's say you have an integrated video card and you have 1 gig of memory, just hypothetically like they're saying. How would you even run your software? I mean, your operating system would be SOL, because right now, just with one allocation of a large G-code file, you'd be screwed. So again, logic comes into play with this, but there has to be an understanding of what this means. If you had 1 gig of RAM, like I said prior, your system resources just from your operating system would deplete that virtually instantly. So even though physically you've got that 1 gig stick installed or 2 512 meg sticks installed, you're going to find that you may only have access to maybe 300 megs, 400 megs, depending upon what's actually running. If you have, you know, your antivirus, if you have other software, you know, Skype and all the other applications, and Windows 10 now comes bundled with just a ton of crap, and some of it, or I should say most of it, we probably don't use. Just keep that in mind, guys. These numbers are fictional under most senses. What realism is at least 3 times. So again, I would recommend here at least 8 gigs of memory, at least. Okay, now again, depending upon how you have your system configured. If you have CAD CAM on the system, it should be at least 12 gigs of memory. And I say that because, again, when we deal with a system that's doing both, CAD CAM is totally different than just running G-code. Okay? It's totally different when you're doing those type of calculations. You will see a tremendous difference in performance running 4 gigs or 8 gigs of memory. If, however, you're just having a computer segregated, like I said, I don't recommend it, but I do have clients and potential clients that will be adamant about doing that, then go that route. I would definitely say at least an 8 gig memory of system would be perfect for that. If you're going to go that route, that would make the most sense to do. Again, use of parallel port for machine control only with desktop style computers with 32-bit versions of Windows 7 and below. Okay, I mean, that's pretty much where we're at. I mean, if you're spending the money for Mach 4, you already realize you're trying to obviously move up. I don't see why anybody would be going backwards. So just is what it is. Matter of fact, purchase parallel port plugin. They've even gotten slick on that. Now they're charging you to buy a plugin, which is nothing. I mean, it's really a joke. But that's one of the reasons why I recommend always Mach 3. Guys, if you get motion control and it's stable, and stability is not dictated by the software per se, other than the system running it, keep that in mind. I mean, that's all this is. Mach 4 and Mach 3 is just a G-code translator. As long as your machine will run accurately, that's all you should care about. If you really care about the screen sets and whatnot, download them for free for Mach 3 and you can make it look any way you'd like. Getting out of here, let's go keep going. Bobcat. Now, Bobcat says, recommended system requirements, SolidWorks 2015, 2 gig processor or higher multi-core, 6 gig of RAM or higher, 2 gig available hard drive space, 1 gig graphics card, and support OpenGL 1.1. For Windows Vista systems, we suggest an ATI or NVIDIA graphic card. They went into a little more detail. Again, this is recommended, and then this is minimum. And you can see now, this is interesting because they actually took the time to give you a recommended system requirement. And it's interesting because it's actually double what the minimum system requirement is. 3 gigs of RAM, 6 gigs of RAM. And everything else is basically the same except the graphics card. Once again, 1 gig graphics card, the minimum system requirement is 256 meg. That's a huge difference, guys. That should tell you tremendously what we're working with here. Okay, and if any of you have ever worked with SolidWorks, check it out. Go on the site. It's awesome software, but again, it's not for the faint of heart when it comes to hardware. You've got to have the right hardware. So again, same rule of thumb. We can see what we're working with here, getting into more of the pro-grade type software. Now we'll go over here to Vetrix. I have a lot of potential clients interested in Vetrix, and of course, clients that are using it. Vetrix actually broke theirs down. Hold on one second, I gotta grab a drink. Excuse me. Vetrix actually broke their stuff down into different portions of their programming that they offer. They offer Aspire, which is their flagship, VCarve Pro, VCarve Standard, I guess. This is what? Yeah, we got VCarve Pro and, I'm sorry, I can't even read, oh, VCarve Desktop, excuse me. And basically what we've got here is I wanted to go with their flagship software because if we go with their higher end software, you know anything in between this should run fine. Now it says here the Aspire VCarve, Cut3D, Photo VCarve, and Cut2D software products will only run on virtually all, or will all run, excuse me, on virtually all home PCs and do not require any special hardware and graphics card. I just don't believe in that, guys. That's not true. Aspire VCarve Pro Desktop and Cut2D Pro Desktop software is 64-bit and 32-bit and work on both 32-bit and 64-bit operating system. Of course, that's true. Cut3D and Photo VCarve software is 32-bit and work on both 32-bit and 64-bit operating systems. That's true. Vetrix software does not support Windows 8 RT, as this is not a full edition of Windows, okay? And now we get down to the specs, okay? For running Aspire and VCarve Pro Desktop, we recommend a higher minimum PC specification. Well, that's great. What the hell is it? Because right here, you're telling us one thing, and over here, they're telling you something else. And this is how confusing it is, and I feel for you guys, especially the ones that are just getting involved with this, and that's where it's bothersome, because I don't know why they don't take the time to really break this down, other than it costs them more money in terms of software sales than, to be honest, because some guys will say, well, you want me to drop 1,000 or 2,000 on their Aspire, and why do I want to do that when I have to pay another 1,000 or 800 on a PC to run it? There you go. So what they'll do is, negate to give you that information. So what we have here is 2 gig multi-core CPU, 4 gig RAM with XP, Service Pack 3, Windows Vista, Windows 7, 8, 10, you name it. 300 megs disk space, which we know is BS when you get files. And then over here it says 7.7 gig of additional disk space required if you wish to store the tutorials and clip art supplied in your hard drive. Well, most guys are going to do that. I mean, unless you're going to have a flash drive with some of that on there and back and forth. Like I've said it before previously, guys, keep your system as simple as possible. The less moving parts you have, so to speak, the easier it is to troubleshoot should a problem arise. Okay? That is the ultimate goal here, is keeping things simple, or it should be, because as you get busier with your business, if that's your projection of where you're going with this, you're going to find any variable that can screw you up, and does, cost you an inordinate amount of time and could potentially make you lose clients because you can't be working on your projects. So think about that. If you're going to have 2 or 3 computers doing one computer's job, you may be saving money. You think, once again, penny wise, dollar foolish. In the short run, in the long run, you're actually spending more time. I can't tell you how many people I've talked to, any potential clients, past clients, whoever it may be, who has said to me numerous times, I've watched your videos and they've saved me money, unfortunately, after the fact. I bought the cheapest thing I could buy, and then I went through and did the mods, and I watched your video, and you were absolutely right. That's not what I want to do. I want to make it so you guys don't run into that. That's the whole idea behind these videos, is hopefully to save one of you, to make you realize, you know what, it's better to wait. I'll put the money in the bank. I've got my eyes set. I'll keep going to that 9 to 5, knowing that one day, soon, I will have that money available to put down and do it right and start, and you're serious, and you'll have a real machine, and you won't have to worry about those headaches. That's what we want. Start with a peace of mind. Again, looking at this, 7.7 gigs of space. We know, guys, in hard drive space today, that's nothing. If you do have to stay away from solid state drives, once again for price, I don't know how that would be because they've really dropped dramatically, but if you do, stay with 1 terabyte, stay with 2 terabytes of space. Again, I recommend at least 1 terabyte because you will go through space quickly the more files you contain. Now, a lot of guys say that's massive. Well, it is massive, and even if you have it allocated to work, 9 out of 10 of you, when you start dealing with clients and projects and stuff like that, that space will go quick. If you start sending videos, you do multimedia, whatever you do, it is what it is. And I really think that now with the price of data being as cheap as it is, that storage is well worth it. Areas of caution, and this is kind of away from this topic because we're going through these pretty quickly, but when you guys look at cloud storage, and I know there are many pieces of software, Fusion 360 is one of them, that are now merging into this cloud storage space. I've discussed this previously, but I really cannot emphasize this enough. If you're serious about starting a business and you're dealing with proprietary components, be very cautious about what files you upload on cloud. Whether it's a backup, whether it's somebody, a software company that's, dealing with that, you have no idea whose eyes are on your stuff. So be very cautious. And again, I hate to say it, we just have to always, as business owners, you have to always be aware of the possible deception that's out there. And there's a lot of it, especially as you're starting out. You'll find that, you want to find areas where you find safety and knowing, well, my data's backed up, I'm good. A hard drive failure when you're running a CNC system could be catastrophic if you don't have, a contingency plan on what to do. And you don't want to figure out that contingency when the system is down. You want to do it ahead of time. So again, looking at these numbers, or I should say the stats and numbers, display, it's recommending a 1024 by 768 graphic display. That's real easy to find. That's real basic. Monitors, we're not looking at 4K here. We're not looking crazy. But operating system, Microsoft XP, of course, Windows 10 with 4 gigs of memory. Interesting. So they recommend 4 gig, according to what we just seen before. I believe it was Mach 4 that recommended 1 gig. This is a big jump. But you can see the disparity looking at these as a logical person, lining them up. Watch this video again, and you can see the disparity in seeing how they're all over the place. It just tells you that, again, money is what talks with certain vendors. And unfortunately, until we get into a society where they'll be held liable for that, we have to look and be smarter. And the only way to do that is hopefully you guys do your research, whether it be Google, whether it be my videos, whatever it may be, as much of it as it takes to make sure you're as safe and your money is as sound as possible. Like I said, invest in a computer that's going to run that robot and make you guys as much profit with as least amount of downtime and the least amount of variables that could give you trouble. It's going to save you a ton of trouble. I cannot emphasize that enough. So again, guys, I hope this video has been helpful to you. I have to say a huge thank you to everybody. I have broken 3,000 subscribers and I'm just completely ecstatic. I know that's in YouTube land, that's nothing, but to me, considering I have so many people that are willing to just listen to my voice, I really, truly appreciate it. I love all of you. Again, anything I can do to help, my email again is storm2313@gmail.com, whether it be for quotes, whether it be to talk, whatever it may be. Of course, time is of the essence, and I try to get back to everybody as soon as possible. But again, I do plan on giving back. I've got some ideas that I can do. I'm just working on some things right now. Of course, the shop is really busy, but I definitely want to give back because I know you guys have been giving me a ton of support, and like I said, I can't say thank you enough. So what I plan on doing in the future is I've got a sale lined up. I've got a couple little things I want to give you guys. It ain't much, but it'll definitely help many of you, at least as you guys become more equipped with your systems and trying to start a business, as many of you are. And again, that's what it's all about, you know, get the community to grow and take it to that next level. So again, I do thank you all, and if you do need to contact me through my dealer direct store, I'll put that in the description along with my email again, so you guys will be all set. If I don't get back to you, I say this in every video, if I don't get back to you right away, please understand, doing phone calls and doing consultations, service calls, whatever it may be, I will get back to you. Just be patient, I promise. And if I don't message you right away, if I, for some reason, I'm human, if I do forget or something, just message me again. Most of the time, sometimes I have hang-ups in eBay. Of course, their servers give us trouble at times, so just think about that. But again, thank you all. I hope you've enjoyed it. Take care.